Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this review, I want to finish reviewing the three Crocodile Dundee movies, and reviewing the 2001 film Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. Starring, of course, Paul Hogan, Leonard Kozlowski, and also has Jerry Burns, and a cameo by Paul Rodriguez in this film, comedian Paul Rodriguez. Of course, in this film, it takes place 13 years after the last Crocodile Dundee film, and even Paul Hogan said himself, at the time, and he doesn't know why it took like 13 years to make another Crocodile Dundee film, but he did. It took way too long to make this movie, and it's also way too much long to keep up with the bit that Crocodile Dundee doesn't know anything about the United States, which is one of the bad bits of this movie. Which this movie is obviously the worst one of the three Crocodile Dundee films. It's definitely the worst one. And so the second one was bad. This one makes the second one look like Gandhi in by comparison. For this movie, the premise of this film is that Leonard Kozlowski's character, Sue Charlton, gets a call from her father, who, once again, you never see him, you just see him on the phone, to go to LA to cover a story about this little 2-by-0 movie studio that's turning out one disaster movie after the other, and find out why they're making these crappy movies. And there's something else phony that's going on, because the regular reporter who covered that studio, was doing a story on that studio, ended up getting killed in a car accident. And so Sue Charlton is investigating that, as well as the movie studio. Well, Mick goes along, and I should mention that Sue Charlton and Mick Dundee have a child together called Little Mikey Jr. But unfortunately, Mick and Sue are still not married at this time, which that would change in the end of this movie, by the way. And what happens is, Dundee, of course, now is like a crocodile hunter, even though hunting crocodiles is now illegal in Australia. So what he used to do before with the Never Never safaris is not, pretty much a dead business, because you can't do anything with these crocodiles anymore because it's against the law in Australia. I should mention that the guy who played Walter Raleigh, I think he's since passed away between Crocodile Dundee 2 and this movie. I think he passed away. So they had to write him out by saying that he retired. They made no reference, except for looking at the sign on the office of Never Never Safaris. It says, owners, Mick Dundee, and it says Walter Raleigh, and it says, and Nugget, which is one of Dundee's friends who literally bulked up for the movie. The guy who plays Nugget. And they mention on the sign that Walter Raleigh retired. Well, the fact of the matter is, I think the actor who played Walter Raleigh passed away. So they had to write him out some way, and they made absolutely zero references to Walter Raleigh in this movie, except showing the sign saying that he retired. Other than that, they never mentioned Walter Raleigh once in this entire movie. Saying, how much I miss Walter, and wish he was here, yada yada, that type of thing. They made no references to Walter Raleigh at all in this movie at all. Or some of the business with Louis Rico, they never mentioned that. Anything that happened in the previous movie. They mentioned a couple of times what happened in New York. Or Dundee, Mick Dundee, I haven't mentioned what happened to tell his son what happened in New York a couple of times, but that's about it. Nothing else. He doesn't mention anything else in this movie at all about his previous adventures in the other two films, or how he met Sue and that type of thing. Not something mentioned in this movie. I should mention. And so Dundee goes, and the kid goes along with Sue to investigate the studio, and Mick was undercover in the studio, and he's training a monkey. There's supposed to be a monkey in this movie that's supposed to be filming, and he doesn't do a good he does that, and while looking at what's really going on in the studio, and there's a whole artwork smuggling scheme that's going on, and Dundee and Sue Charlton bust up the smuggling ring and brought down this little 2-by-0 studio for the end of this movie. And of course, there's also a subplot about little Mikey's teacher getting the hots for Mick Dundee, and she said, "Oh, I'm already involved with Mikey's mother. I've been involved for a long time now, and that's who I'm with." And she goes, "Oh," and then his friend, Dundee's friend, that Nugget, for you guys see in Australia, so this other guy comes over, and he gets involved with Mikey's teacher. You know the two of them. So the teacher and her got along, and that's pretty much it. And of course, in the end, one of the jokes is another joke is, of course, once again they come up with a bit with Dundee getting mugged again in this movie, and he gets even with the 3 guys who are trying to mug him by jumping on the top of the convertible. I mean, come on. I mean, say again, it's in each one of these 3 movies, he ends up getting mugged. Well, the second time was really a joke. It was not really getting mugged in Crocodile Dundee 2. But this movie, yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and it's like a waste of everybody's time and talent. And when the sad part of it is, yes, you do see at the end of this movie, you see Sue Charlton and Mick Dundee actually finally getting married at the end of this movie. And of course, and after the wedding scene, you had Dundee, Paul Hogan actually talking to the audience, "Oh, I think it's about time to give up the whole Crocodile Dundee bit." And then he puts on the iconic hat, and he goes, "Nah, I don't think so." And then he just walks away, and that's it. Now it's been 20 years since that movie came out. There's never been another Crocodile Dundee movie, and on top of that, not a few years after this movie, he gets divorced from Linda Kozlowski. So, of course, with them getting divorced, I don't think they're going to do another movie because they got divorced, and Paul Hogan got in trouble in Australia with taxes. So, I don't think it's going to have another Crocodile Dundee movie. They should have stopped at the second one. Or if they will make a third one, they shouldn't have waited 13 years. And I can understand they waited like 4 or 5 years, maybe, at most, to make another sequel. But to wait 13 years to make another movie, they shouldn't. I felt they shouldn't have waited 13 years. And they took them 13 years, and they had a really lousy, terrible story, and it's not really very, very good. And if you want to like let's stick with the first 2 movies. The third one is, you just about forget it. I mean, they didn't even go back to New York in the third film. Sorry, my phone. I mean, it was just terrible. So that's my review of the movie Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews now on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com. It's all WDY. C.com. It's the homepage of Rowdy Reviewer. Please see more, and please check out all his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.